I got a problem.
Little minor league
Can you
baseball hat
relate?
action on the halftime show tonight.
Yeah, I put it on because apparently there is a Netflix show about the St. Paul Saints, and this is one of my two. Maybe that's going to be my thing. All my new hats will just be minor league teams. I'd get a Chattanooga Lookouts hat. We're at halftime. The Niners are up by a bunch. We had a sad field goal. It was a good field goal, 57 yarders,
Yeah,
nothing to
shout out to
sneeze at.
Graham Gano for making it, but that was a terrible field goal decision.
Yeah, I mean, technically, like, I guess you could get a field goal and a 2 point conversion and a touchdown and be tied now. I might have gone. I might have gone for that. The way your defense played, I feel like you're gonna. It's like the hey, you don't beat Kansas City with field goals kind of thing. You're
Yeah,
gonna probably need some sixes here.
you're going to need sixes and
Um,
not threes to win
yeah,
the game.
Drew is not retired. Drew is still in Croatia. He will be back on Sunday. He
Yeah.
is going to be back early Sunday morning, so he can watch football, and he'll make it into the Sunday shows. Yeah, shout out to Nick Costas and anyone else who bullied me into playing some Bell first touchdown scorer. I put just a little tickle on that, so that was pretty nice. A lot of the props, people in the DGen Discord are doing pretty well. I have some Slayton over yardage. It was nice for him to get off the schneid. He got the first target of the game and then didn't get one until that last drive, but I need him to get about I don't know, about 20 yards in the second half. That would be super swell of him. The Giants will start with the football. Maybe that played a little bit into their hey, we can get a field goal here and then score again, and maybe suddenly we're only down by 4 or 5 points. I'm not sure if you go for two. I think I honestly would.
I mean, you can't kick that field goal in that spot right before halftime, then score a touchdown and not go for two, because then you just kind of defeats the purpose of kicking the field goal to begin with,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. So let me let's see. Do you got lines up?
Uh,
I kind
uh,
of if the Niners are like under a field goal favorite, I
it's three and a
feel like
half. It's 3.5 at FanDuel. 20.5 is the total. Let me kind of search around and see. I usually just use FanDuel lines for no reason other than it's the easiest one on my eyes. My eyes are old. Um,
I found a three flat. Kind of feel like I'm just gonna bet the Niners here.
Niners
The,
Niners
the,
-3. I'm fine with
yeah,
that.
even so, we saw the scripted plays for the Giants wasn't horrible. We saw the hurry up offense wasn't atrocious, but if that's the best you can throw at them, man, I don't see you slowing down. Even if the Niners go into some sort of conservative mode, their conservative mode is what running two really good running backs at you. They
Yeah,
have a third. They have a fullback
yeah.
that's decent. They have even their backup receivers and Jennings and Bell are pretty good. You haven't done much to stop. And Purdy's got magic. I mean,
Yeah,
he tried to throw an interception,
he
and to
did.
be fair, that
He tried to throw
wasn't like
several.
the one that bounced up in the air. That wasn't. I mean, that was a little unlucky that it went up in the air. It was very lucky that it was caught for like a 15-yard gain. I have tried blue light glasses. I don't hate them. I've worn those, and I think they actually make a difference. I have some at home. I always forget to bring them in here. I use them at home sometimes. My wife swears by them too. My beard is starting to get a little white. I might get some of the Emmett Smith just for men brushing stuff. So, yeah, Purdy hasn't looked good when he's gone a little deeper down the field, but the easy stuff is still so easy for this team because Debo is a monster. Like other teams run that shitty third down screen, and it's like, all right, now we're putting on 4th and 14. They get a 30-yard gain. Like Debo, Kittle. I know Ayuk's off, and I'd love to have him too. But Debo, Kittle, obviously Christian McCaffrey's so dangerous with the ball in their hands. I think the only reason we're getting this under a field goal is maybe the fact that the Giants do start with the ball. I don't know. You can't do what you want. I'm kind of riding a cold streak here in second half, so I'll mostly be cheering for Mr. Slayton to get some catches. I don't know
Well,
what. Tell
that's
me what
start
props you
Jonathan.
guys need to hit.
So just kind of cleaning some things up. The 242 to 88 total yards for the 49ers, the Giants. 49ers were 7 of 10 on third down in the first half. And we were talking about it when we were right before we came on, like at least according to the ESPN box score, an exact 2-1 time of possession edge, 20 minutes to 10 minutes for the 49ers. Like, I agree. Brock Purdy has been begging to throw some interceptions anytime he has to throw the ball more than like 5 yards down the field, but he really doesn't have to do that a ton. Like, particularly if the Giants are going to just let him throw screen passes to Christian McCaffrey all night, that seems to be a pretty bad way to just get bled to death in this game if you're the Giants. So, yeah, I mean, Ronnie Bell was a really good player in college, and I guess maybe just didn't have the measurables or whatever, but like he was a good college player, and Ayuk's out, and it's like, oh, well, we're just gonna put this guy in. He's gonna catch a touchdown. Like, they have so many weapons, they're so good. Their defense, Bellinger trying to block Bosa was pretty spectacular. Like, this team's loaded, and as long as like Brock Purdy doesn't have to continuously make a ton of big throws, they're probably going to be okay. Again, I don't love Kyle Shanahan's propensity to punt the ball from midfield. I mean, I know your defense is awesome. I get it. But like, eventually you're not going to be playing the Giants. Eventually, like he does in the postseason, he's going to do that against a Mahomes or against.
No, that's the joke.
Healthy,
it's like when he's aggressive, it's like, oh, he doesn't do that in the postseason. I can't. Maybe at the legal books you can find an Eli Mitchell. We're calling him. Apparently, half knows this guy personally. Calls him Eli. He's on a first name basis. But Elijah Mitchell, I'm seeing yardage at like 40-ish for the second half. I'm not seeing attempts. I need the Slayton over as well. Obviously, we're in a good game state for that. They're going to be throwing quite a bit. Ephraim here needs him to stop handing off to CMC. I think CMC's rushing attempts was 17 or 18. I saw some people on that under. Yeah, if he just disappeared in the second half, it'd be good for that.
He has 10 carries, which feels like that's an error in the box score.
Yeah, Deebo Samuel has like 9 or 10 targets. It is, yeah, they've relied on him. The Giants' worst second half heroes. Oh, and I do have to point out, this wasn't a tweet. This was a DM in a DM group. But I do want to shout this out. My friend PD, a big Dallas Cowboys and Liverpool fan on Twitter, he said, I got to find this. You know what's hilarious? This is by far the Giants' best first half this season. I'm like, fuck, that's terrible. But yeah, like this is the most success they've had offensively for sure. I'm not sure when real life is going to catch up to Purdy. That's something. Okereke over 9.5. I don't know where he's at. Seemed low given he had
I don't have
defensive prop. The Niners probably run a billion times. I got to see if I have live defensive stuff. I don't have as much stuff as you guys.
They don't have a care key on FanDuel. Elijah Mitchell, he said at 62.5 for the game. He's at 27 at halftime. So
okay, so like, yeah,
you're
35.
A stop. Yeah, you're a stop and on the first series and a 49ers touchdown away from probably seeing a lot of Elijah Mitchell in the second half. But I mean, that's going to be a dicey prop if the Giants score and take any amount of time off the clock, because you'd imagine we're going to get a steady dose of CMC to start the second half if the game's still kind of in it. I mean, either way, whatever happens, you're probably going to get a couple of drives of Christian McCaffrey there. So a little worried.
Lewis got a he had a touchdown early. Never mind. Lewis got another catch, but a lot of people on Georgia State tonight, +7 money line, needs 23 more Kittle yards from Century here. Bosa for another sack, no turnover, +900 still alive. Ooh. That's sassy. Yeah, it was pretty clean. Obviously, they had that one tip ball, and Purdy threw a couple of YOLO balls, like you said, early in that first, or in the red zone down in that first drive. But yeah, Purdy +550 to throw a pick.
Yeah, I don't know if
that's actually turnovers. So that price is kind of the price is interesting because a lot of turnover, interception props pregame are going to be right around even money.
Okay.
And, now you have half as much time, but the game state is so tilted towards running the ball, not pushing the ball downfield. A price is probably right, but if you'd have made me guess, I would have said like $450. So
I think the problem with betting the no turnover is that Daniel Jones is probably going to have to throw the ball a bunch with the game state. And I mean, that seems like recipe for a disaster to begin with. Plus, if they can't block Bosa, sack, fumble, that kind of thing is also in play there. So, I mean, if you've got the stomach for it, go ahead. But that just feels like one of those that you're going to bet. I've had this new philosophy when I bet of just like, unless like I really absolutely have to do it, I don't love betting on people and teams I don't trust. Like the Iowa State Oklahoma State game on Saturday, the total's like 36 or 37.
Yeah.
And we have guys in the Discord stumping for like maybe you should bet alt overs. And I'm like, that's 2 really shitty drives, and then Matt Campbell punting on 4th and 1 from the 50. And then you're like, what am I doing with my life? So betting on Daniel Jones to not turn the ball over when they're down 11 against a good defense kind of scares the crap out of me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, you feel like he's going to have to throw a couple risky. But they've had some, and he's thrown some passes into tight coverage already. Purdy over 10.5 pass attempts in the second half. That's interesting. He has 23 in the first half, but like I said, if they get a stop in this first drive, that number's probably pretty fair. It's going to be a lot of running. Like if you cash that, it's going to be on some pop passes and like little screens where it's like you're going to be squinting and like looking at the box score right away. Like, oh shit, was that a forward pass or was that a handoff? I think the bad beat brewing might be. I checked pregame. The Deebo Samuel catches prop was 4.5, and it was juicy, like 130 to 150, juicy. And like I said, 9 targets, 3 catches, and now they're in a game state where they might not be throwing all that much. Like they have pointed out that the median projection is like 10 or 11 pass attempts. So you need 2 of those to be Deebo catches at least. That said, they love him, and they love him short if they're going to do some screen passes and stuff.
Yeah. That's like a lot of those, like Brock Purdy. I mean, he's his longest pass this half probably, unless if the Giants don't score on this first drive, it's probably going to be like less than 15 yards. And like he's probably not even going to necessarily even try to throw it many times over 10 yards. But like all it's going to take to rack those up real quick is to throw those passes at the line of scrimmage, screen the swings, the screen passes, that kind of stuff. So you might see that in lieu of a running game or to complement a running game, depending on what's happening in that situation. Deebo over under 7.5 rushing in the second. That one I don't know.
That one's so dependent on what's in the, he has 1 rush. I'd have to go check back what he had in previous games and go look at the Niners games from the other weeks. But that one's so weird because they have so many different guys they can just go and hand the ball off to. Kind of expect a lot of Elijah Mitchell. I don't hate them. I don't hate it for him to get 40 yards. They're blocking really nicely up front. Deebo had 5 attempts last week for 38 yards. Granted, that game was, kind of tight. They were tied at halftime. That was a whole different kind of game state there in the second half. They needed those turnovers late to really ice that one away. And then in week 1 versus, now I'm looking at the fucking Rams. I don't want to look at another Rams game. I want to look at another Niners game. The Steelers game state too was kind of odd, but maybe this is a good analog for tonight because they'll be leading. Deebo had 2 carries for 8 yards, long of 5. That second half was way more out of hand though than which I don't know. We might get to this soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be kind of a first drive. I guess we never said, are you just sticking with the 3 49ers?
I don't, unless somebody has a really strong take on this total. I'm going to, I mean, there's been a little steam towards the Giants in the 3, but I'm going to take the Niners in 3 at a cheap price.
I just wanted to put that up because apparently the second half is about to start. Patrick, I think it was Patrick said
it wouldn't shock me if Christian McCaffrey got like 12 more carries, man. Because they don't seem to give a shit.
They don't. And Patrick said, I made the squares parlay SF KC Jacks to win the division at plus 200. Which one of those, Andy, do you think is the least likely to hit?
Jacksonville. Not even close, man.
Yeah,
Colts are going to win that division, guys.
Are they?
Minshew's going to get you there. I honestly, I'm not scared of Denver right now. Their offense looks better, but their defense took a step back. The Chargers are doing Charger things, and the Raiders, obviously, if they can't stay healthy at receiver, they don't really have a true shot at getting close here. So KC Niners should, walk if Seattle is doing this thing where they're taking some sort of step back, and the Rams obviously have been nice on offense, but you still got to win the head-to-heads if you want to even take a swing at it. I mean, Jacksonville's the closest probably. I saw some good square. We talked about this, the 10-point parlay. People did it with this one and then the two 12 or 13-point games. So it'll be interesting to look back at that
So,
on Monday. And
I was scrolling through that and I missed it. So walk me through what this was.
It's a 10-point teaser.
Okay.
So instead of the 6 points, you get 10. So basically, it's like Niners money line, Chiefs. When he placed it, it was Chiefs -2.5,
and Cowboys -2.5.
Cowboys -2.5.
What are the odds on the 10-point teaser?
I was like -120.
Oh,
so those legs needed to hit about 80% of the time, and we looked it up, and it was like, well, it's above that if you take all the 10 to 15-point favorites, and so it wasn't a bad play. I'm kind of interested. I'm cheering for it.
I might, if I can get that, I might play that just for fun because it seems, I mean, the whole thing with like laying, yes, the Cowboys and Chiefs should win by a lot, but the thing that you and Drew kind of, one of the biggest things I've learned from working with you and Drew for 2 years now is the idea that NFL teams are just trying to win. They don't care if they cover. And so the Cowboys should beat Arizona by a lot, but Arizona's been frisky at least. And so the Cowboys kind of going on cruise control and winning that game by like 7 or 8 seems kind of realistic.
I know. We've talked, and the Chiefs have done that for a couple of years now, where you pay this premium with the Chiefs, and they do not cover games. They just refuse to cover games for people. Mm-hmm. Frank Brank said that to me one time. I said, I think he was betting a juicy money line on a baseball game, and I said, don't you ever just, look at the 1.5? And he's like, it's just not the same bet. He's like, because teams aren't incentivized to win by 2 if they're up by 1 late.
Yeah,
that your insurance runs are great, but you're much more focused on just closing it out from the pitching side. And Frank played college baseball for the Allegheny Gators, so.
Oh, the Allegheny Gators. That kind of sounds like a minor league team.
It's small school in Pennsylvania. I think he went to Vanderbilt after that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's not like he was I don't think he played baseball there.
Yeah, I mean, probably a little bit step up in competition if he was trying to play there. Did you get the price that you wanted on your guy Andy Dalton today? Did it ever get to the number you wanted?
I don't think it quite got there. It was an there's some I should get home here eventually, but there were some interesting ones today. The Waddle news brought the Denver-Miami total back down to 48. Minnesota took money, which I talked myself out of it. And now Minnesota's deciding they're going to take money. They're out to 1.5 at some places. Obviously, for some reason, the good news on Burrow this morning pushed the Rams Bengals line back to -3. And then the bad news in the afternoon didn't really seem to make a dent the other way. It kind of stuck there. The Philly news on their secondary didn't really move their line. I played some 5 today. Some of the weather on the East Coast is obviously affecting those totals. You're seeing that. The Carolina numbers kind of moved back to 6 at a bunch of places. So interesting to see what's going to happen there. Jacksonville, there seems to be some resistance whenever that gets bet down now. That's kind of coming back up. I'm trying to think. I think some of that too is Houston is suffering quite a few injuries on the defensive side now as well. So not a good time for that when you're
Houston's
had
a ton of injuries on both sides of the ball, haven't they?
Their
whole offensive line hurt too.
Their whole offensive line was already injured. Now they're getting beat up in the secondary, which is kind of going to be a problem. The Minnesota total is hanging steady at 54. Green Bay took some money with some good news. Aaron Jones practicing is obviously massive for that offense. New Orleans will almost certainly be a teaser leg for me. I think their defense might kind of be elite. Unfortunately, they had to suspend a safety. They didn't do it. The league did, I'm sure, for smoking drugs or whatever.
Cheating ass Saints.
We'll get you the Bird Gang. We'll get you the newsletter link. I just can't. I can't like say it out loud. If I said it out loud, it just wouldn't be as effective. Are you on? You're on YouTube. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Send it to me. I'll drop it in the show notes.
Sending a link through the chat doesn't seem to work very well. Apologies for that. We'll get you. Don't worry. But
Yeah, I'll just
sending a
make sure I
link.
add it to my list of
they-
things that go in the show notes every week.
They don't. Yeah, they don't.
every
They're not
show.
clickable really, and sometimes they don't go across as right. So
Yeah.
ready the damn website. But yeah, check out the newsletter. I'll put some notes in there tomorrow. Ranking my teasers, I think.
So for the
have to
people
give
who
them
aren't
rank 'em.
subscribed, how often is the Andy Deep Dive football newsletter coming out?
I'm sending that thing 6 days a week, guys. That's
So
all
you're
I do in
getting-
the mornings now is
yes,
just write
yeah.
about football. I'm tracking the awards. I got massive notes on the awards. I want to have like a better understanding of the cycle of it when I get to the end of the year, so I can be well spoken when we get to January and when I'm bitching about my losing bets.
Just wait till the week 14 and bet whichever candidate on the Giants or Jets is in contention. That's basically what I learned last year from betting awards.
Yeah.
So there you go. Real quick, the Diggs ACL. Obviously, it's not going to matter this week. How much does the Diggs ACL matter, do you think, going forward when you're handicapping the Cowboys?
It's big, but it's still a very good defense. They have strengths at all levels. So I like the Raiders offense, but Devontae has to play for me to rank them. Favorite awards right now. I played some Christian Gonzalez 12 and 14-1 to win defensive rookie of the year. That was in the newsletter. And that's the thing too. If you go to the newsletter, you can view it on the web. There's all the back issues. If you want to go through some of my notes on some of the awards I'm going through during the week.
You also talked about it last night. You can go back through the show.
Yeah, I think I brought it up too. Noonan really
put it into a YouTube short, so that's how I remembered it. That'll go up this week at some point. So Andy did talk about.
Oh, do you like the Raiders? Oh, not the Raiders offense. The Raiders over. I'm sorry. That's funny. Again, that is going to depend a little bit on what I get for Friday injury reports for Myers and Devontae Adams, and also some Pittsburgh stuff. But it does feel like a very good Kenny Pickett get right game. And then Parsons is very short. A few guys in the Discord made a good play on Garrett 16-1. We might be watching a legitimately otherworldly defense this year that just gets wasted because the offense sucks.
Well, the offense is going to suck until they put their best quarterback on the field, and then I'm going to be sitting pretty with my stupid
TTR
150-1. Yeah, I mean, why the fuck not? Whatever. Teasers, is there a section is there a day of the week in particular that you do teasers in the newsletter?
Well, on Sunday I'll lay out the ones I bet for sure, but tomorrow I'll rank the teaser legs I like in order. I should go back and see what I did for a ranking. I don't know. Did anyone get seriously bad results with teasers over the first 2 weeks? It feels like anything Wongy did very well.
We're feasting on Wongburger so far this season.
The Bears should have covered that teaser leg for sure. They threw that pick, which was a huge problem. The one that lost in week 1 obviously was the Steelers, which was stinky. All right, so my teaser legs last week ranked were Green Bay teased out to 7.5, which cashed. Second one I ranked was Indy teased out to 7.5 versus Houston. They won outright. Dallas minus 8.5, won by a bunch. Next one I gave was Buffalo minus 8. They won by a bunch, yeah. Pittsburgh plus 2.5, teased to 8.5 Monday night. That covered because they won. Niners teased to 1.5, won despite McVay's best efforts. And then I did rank Chicago dead last plus 2.5. So I guess got lucky there because I did leave that one off. And yeah, if you've been playing Wongs, you've been cashing. Hopefully you guys have at least minus 120 on that sort of stuff. Oh no. They might call catch interference on this. After this, I got to run.
Yeah. So Charles Saul asks, "Is this the worst 4 p.m. slate in NFL history?" I don't have historical precedent, but boy, the best game is Carolina with Andy Dalton against Seattle. Can Denver stop the Miami? Oh,
Denver's defense has taken some serious steps back. Yeah,
Carolina's defense has been pretty solid so far. You do the math on that one.
Yeah, if there's any good Waddle news tomorrow, I would expect to see that 48 get bet back up. He can't be within 2 yards.
Kick, catch, interference.
Oh, that hurts. The turnover would have been a lot nicer than this great, really good field position. No Bears talk? Nope.
What would you talk about?
Yeah. We're just going to, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. The Ryan Poles holding a press conference today and not really addressing it sucked. I mean, he's not with the team anymore, so I guess it's not really something that Ryan Poles needs to worry about. But obviously, everyone's very interesting to see what comes out of that. I guess with all the rumors flying around on the internet for a day, which it's funny. People are like, "Oh, the internet is that's why rumors fly around because people have Twitter and stuff." No, it just makes it faster.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys remember because you're not old enough, but people used to say, "Don't believe everything you read in the papers." I mean, it's the same thing. It just took a lot longer because some kid had to throw the rumors on your front stoop, and then
today it was the DJ Moore.
Oh yeah, we added the DJ Moore thing
where it's like they're not using you right. He's like, "Tell me about it" or whatever, and then he had to like apologize. Or after the game, he was like, "No, everything's great." It's just like, man, Patrick, poor Peanut Tillman got pulled into this mess. Yes, he did.
Some people in the Discord got some Eberflus 10 or 12 to 1. He is now plus 150 favorite. I'm not sure. There was just so much. Not only these weren't rumors; these were actually quotes from the McCaskey family when Nagy was clearly on the way out. They were very adamant that they didn't want to do stuff in season. That kind of worries me that Eberflus might just be able to throw Getsy under the bus here and make it to the end of the season. I feel like there might be some value on Staley, even though I've kind of said I'm not so sure that's a front office.
Yeah, are you flip flopping now?
I just think now that it's a bigger number, I think if you have Eberflus at a big number,
you play defense with some Staley there.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anybody else right now that you think's even in contention for it that's not like wouldn't come out of left field?
I mean, some of the names that were bandied around were like McCarthy, because there was issues about that, preseason for first coach fired. It's probably down right now, but no,
McCarthy was bandied about. Riverboat Ron
Stefanski is a name that was talked about a little, and that might have some steam too. Who lasts longer, Virginia McCaskey or Eberflus? I guess that's a point there. And yeah, I finally do get the quote from the movie. Put some pants on. Find it weird I had to ask twice. Belichick feels like there's so much respect.
I will die on this hill. Bill Belichick Kraft will never fire Bill Belichick in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
Belichick but Belichick would walk away.
Do it.
But like maybe Belichick would walk away, but I don't think that. Warren Buffett, yes, it is a pickle on a pogo stick. I can tell that story if anybody wants to hear it, but I don't know that has anything to do with football. I just think that there's too much respect for Belichick and what he's done there for it to end in the middle of the season. If it's fired now, if it's first like to leave his position, maybe he gets sick of it and walks away, but I highly doubt it. Patrick says will resign or retire. He will never get fired. I agree. Unless it's like things get awkward there or whatever, and it gets really bad, which I just don't see happening. To answer the TLDR version, Warren Buffett, in the state of Connecticut, a pickle has to bounce for it to be legally considered a pickle. So for one night only this season, the Hartford Yard Goats were the Hartford Bouncing Pickles, and I bought the hat. So yeah, I'm dying on the hill that Belichick is never going to be fired. I'm with Patrick there. Steve Lackey, Chargers won't fire them about Mike Riley back after a 1-15 season. So I don't know, man.
Well, there goes my second half bet. Jesus, Matt Breida. That was a hell of a drive. All right. Well, I guess this helps some of the Niners stats.
Yeah, there you go.
They're gonna have to stick it on. Was Gruden fired from Tampa? He was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I was looking that up. I was gonna think it would have been funny if Gruden had. I thought for a second he might have quit there. It'd have been funny if Gruden had never been fired, but Belichick has, because he got fired in Cleveland.
He
The
did.
Yard Goats steamed cheeseburger. I saw real hard aside. I saw like one of those fucking Food Network shows where they did that with they had the steamed burgers. Made no sense. I don't understand that at all. I like my burgers to have a little crisp to them.
Yeah,
like
I
a
mean they're
char.
fine. I've had steamed cheeseburgers. I'd rather just have it on a grill, but like,
Yeah.
it's fine. Yes, I have seen this. I like weird hats and things. Clearly, I have a bouncing pickle hat. The steamed cheeseburger one's a little bit too weird for my taste. So looks like we got a game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go home and watch it. You guys be back Sunday. Drew will be home. We'll do. I think we're gonna do the same thing we did last week, like with Connor. If you guys are the people who kind of like watch it live, I know it kind of stinks. It's during the second half of football night in America, but it just works out a little better that way. And obviously, if you want to watch it, you can always do it afterwards or Monday morning, or take it in as a podcast as well. So we'll go from halftime of the Sunday night game, which is like what, Steelers Raiders.
Raiders. America, we need to have a long conversation about not needing to see Steelers and Raiders games in prime time.
Well, did you see the next week is like Chiefs Jets? Which
but like
sense.
Okay,
that made sense.
That made sense at the time. Steelers Raiders never made sense. It's this like fascination that 60-year-old television executives have with the Raiders and Steelers. No one gives a shit anymore.
They were very good in the 70s.
They were. So the podcast will go up right after we finish on Sunday. So if you missed the show live or whatever,
just reading the Christopher Davis in the Discord making fun of me. It's just, Andy, I have to go. Andy, 10 minutes later, I don't like steamed cheeseburgers. Yeah, that's what happens. I get sucked into these. So appreciate you guys. Good luck. 14-6 second half for the Niners. That's my prediction.
I like it. All right. Well, see you guys on Sunday.